Hello and very good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all, my colleagues, teachers, students, ladies and
This
gentlemen,
meeting is being
on this,
recorded.
on this unique platform of Pushpa Gujral Science City, Kapurthala. Science City is a place to communicate science in easy and playway method, not only for students and teachers, but also for rural masses. Today, we all are here to mark the National Energy Conservation Day. Today, it is great moment for us that our worthy Director G. Sridhar, Director General of National Institute of Bioenergy, Kapurthala, and Dr. Manish Soin, Scientist D of Pushpa Gujral Science City, are with us. Now, I would like to introduce our expert of the day, Dr. G. Sridhar. Dr. G. Sridhar, an alumnus of IISc, is an innovative and result-oriented researcher and technologist with over 30 years of cumulative experience in the field of bioenergy and open innovation topics. Having worked both academic and industry, he has a flair of excellence and tries to bring the best out of the research teams. His primary research interest is in developing technologies and solutions based on thermochemical conversion of biomass. Some of the areas include biomass stoves, combustors, gasification, torrefaction, and producer gas fueled IC engines. He has over 45 research publications, including patents to his credit. One of his achievements include being a recipient team member of FICCI Annual Award for Outstanding Achievement in Science and Technology 2005. He currently is the Director General of Sardar Swaran Singh National Institute of Bioenergy and SSS NIBE, Kapurthala, Punjab, an autonomous institution under the Ministry New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. SSS NIBE is an upcoming R&D institute with a mandate to carry out state-of-the-art R&D and innovations covering the entire spectrum of bioenergy, leading to commercialization of technology and their integration with other renewable energy of technologies. The institute has excellent R&D test facilities, which include equipment, instrumentation, and workshops to take up any type of development work in area related to use of bioenergy. Now I will request our expert of the day to please start with their session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for the invitation. I hope you can hear my voice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I guess the audience would be largely, I think, students, or are there anybody else? May I know who the audience are?
Yes, sir. Most of them are students.
Okay. Okay, fine. That's good. So basically, I'm going to address the students on this important event, that is National Energy Conservation Day. And I guess some of you must be knowing that on this occasion in New Delhi today, Honorable President of India, along with Honorable Minister for New and Renewable Energy, presided over a function and also probably might have facilitated winners for the National Energy Conservation Awards and so on. And also, I think they've also launched a electric vehicle Yatra portal. I'm sure you must be reading in the newspaper probably tomorrow. So, my dear student, I guess all of you must be pretty excited to listen to this lecture. So I guess you must be all exposed to some of the recent buzzwords like such as sustainability, climate change, and then you have clean energy and circular economy and so on. And I would say that many of these are in some sense interconnected and also interrelated. I'm sure you students must be since you are all in the current generation, are all internet savvy, and therefore you may be aware of many of the topics, and because many of the information is available in the social media, and I'm sure you would have seen that. And moreover, since the topic is too broad, I'm not sure how far I'll be able to do justice in today's talk, which is about 30 minutes time that's been given to me. So I'll provide you basically some insights on this important topic and how currently our country is dealing with the situation and the kind of programs that government of India is running. So before we can, let's start with what sustainability means to you or anybody, for instance. Okay. So if you go conventional definition like from United Nations, sustainability basically stands for meeting one of the needs of the present, that is present generation of people, without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs, which means say that we are acquired this planet and ecosystem from our forefathers. So we need to give it back to our future generation in the same way, like what we have acquired without destroying it. That's what it means in some sense. So in 2015, year 2015, about close to about 200 nations agreed with the United Nations that they can change the world for better by 2020 by adopting something called as sustainability goals, which are 17 in number. I guess you must be knowing. And among these, sustainability goals calls for action by all these countries, which could be either rich, poor, or middle income, basically to promote prosperity while also protecting the planet. So one among these sustainability goals is one of these goals, which is sustainability goal number 7, which calls for ensuring access to affordable and clean energy, and which means this includes substantially increasing the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix, and also increase the energy efficiency. So let's now look into what's wrong in the current way we are using the energy. That is basically we are deriving the energy from fossil fuels, which could be coal, natural gas, or petroleum products. Today, if you look at the world over, energy is the heart of the challenge for climate change, and also the energy is also a key solution to it. So if you look at the growth and energy, if you look at the growth of any country, any progress of any country, it is interlinked to the energy it consumes. So these are positively linked, which means that energy is necessary for the growth of the country. So with growing industrialization, that is globalization, and also increasing the population, there's a constant demand for increase of energy. So as a result, the consumption of the fossil fuels, which could be either coal or oil or other gaseous product like natural gas, have increased over a period of time. And demand for these resources are also high time, along with other resources like you have food, water, and clothing, and some of those things which are part of the necessity for sustaining life on this planet. So due to increasing all these consumption, basically the energy related emissions from fossil fuels, it could be either from the electricity generation power plants, or it could be from transportation, or it could be from industrial use, or from agriculture, is all contributing to increasing the global emissions, okay, which is close to about in large quantities, and this is causing a huge challenge to sustainability of our earth and form of climate change. So I would say the world is facing this harmful effects because of the climate change. So I'm sure that you must have read in the newspaper that there have been several instances in the recent time where there's been a heat wave, cold wave, both in Europe and other countries in the world, including India. Okay, where for instance, in Europe, I think this year, in the summer, the temperature went up to more than 40 degrees centigrade, which is unlike in the earlier times. And this is something which is unheard of. And India is also not untouched because of the effect of the climate change, I would say. And as many other countries in the world, because India is a third world country, developing country, is vulnerable to effects of the climate change. I just read in newspaper yesterday that there's been a study conducted by Indian Council for Agricultural Research, which says that in the state of Punjab, due to the heat wave in March, April 2012, 2022, the yield of the wheat crop has reduced by 25%. Okay, so this is going to really impair our economy of the country, and similar kind of effects you have seen elsewhere in the country where there have been untimely rains and also increase in the temperature. So according to the recent report from the United Nations, which is published in 2022, if you look at some of the reports, India has lost almost 16% of its per capita GDP since 1991. due to increase in the water level in the seas and also changing monsoon patterns and some of those things. So this rapid rise in the extreme weather events accompanied by droughts, floods, cyclone, forest fires, and some of these things have raised serious concern across the world and has increased the people's interest in sustainability. Okay. Now the world is coming together, as you must have read in the paper, that they are targeting to restrict the global warming temperature rise to about 1.5 to 2 degrees by strictly following the feasible pathways for reducing the global greenhouse gas emissions. When you say greenhouse gas emissions, it's largely the CO2, or it could be also the methane, which are the two major greenhouse gas emissions. So one of the key pathways is where lies the important solution to the challenge of the climate change. So what if we could quickly move towards environmental friendly alternatives for meeting this increasing demand of energy that is leading to 70% of the world's emissions. So if the pathway can end up using becoming dependent on the fossil fuels, but using other clean form of energy, I think the issue will be largely resolved. So this is where the renewable energy comes into picture, and we can derive this energy from natural resources such as sunlight. It could be wind, it could be biomass, or it could be from ocean, or it could be thermal energy within the earth crust. So the term sustainability just doesn't encompass the environmental, but also it has other effects such as economic and social sustainability. So the growth in renewable energy and renewable energy is strongly linked to the social and economic and then environmental regeneration. So let's look what this renewable energy means and how it can address the topic of sustainability. So if you look at renewable energy is nothing but it can be defined as energy which is derived from natural resources that can be replenished at the rate at higher than what you consume. That's what it is. And so this renewable energy is different compared to the conventional energy or the fossil fuels what you use, which we call as a conventional form of energy. Whereas even in case of fossil fuel, it gets replenished, but the rate at which it replenishes is much slower than what you consume, which is opposite to the renewable energy. That's where we can benefit by using renewable energy. And if you look at the energy supplies, if you look at a typical source of energy, the energy supplies that Earth planet derives is basically from sun, okay, which we also worship as per the Hindu custom, which is called as Aditya, which is a solar energy, which provides a continuous stream of energy, which warms up and it causes the crops to grow, as you know, because of the photosynthesis, because the plant absorbs the sunlight and also take water, and because of photosynthesis, it stores the energy in the form of carbohydrates and also in the form of the grains and some of those things. And also the heat from the sun also heats up the lands, seas differentially, and also causes the wind movement, and also leads to rains. And from the rain, water collects, you can also generate the hydropower. So sun is a main contributor of this, which will all it's a main renewable form of energy, which is interlinked, and it helps in growth and prospering other forms of energy like you have wind and on biomass and hydro. So there are several advantages by using renewable energy. One thing is renewable energy does not emit any greenhouse gas emission. So it's good in terms of the climate, from the climate perspective. So it doesn't contribute to the increase in the greenhouse gas emissions. That's very important. And it doesn't emit any air pollutants, which means we say that it is good for health of individual. And it comes at a lower cost. This is something I think that is what is required. We need to see how we can harness this renewable energy at a cost that's affordable to everybody. So that is where I think the research is going on, and then the government programs are going on in such that provide renewable energy, putting more systems, and then manufacturing locally in the country such that renewable energy becomes more affordable. And also renewable energy also has large impact on the community in terms of creating more jobs, which is also required, right? So it can create jobs across both urban and also in the rural areas, I would say. And then it is also accessible to all, because if you look at the solar energy is available everywhere into the country, and wind, of course, it is available at places where there is sea coast or you go into the sea, whereas biomass is available everywhere, wherever the agriculture is mainly practiced. Particularly if you look at the state of Punjab is one of the states in the country which is produce highest amount of in terms of agriculture output, and the kind of the crop residues what we generate could be utilized for energy generation and some of those things. I'm glad to share that our country has taken proactive steps to sustainably harness the solar and then wind and hydro and also the biomass resources. And currently we have a population of 1.3 billion, and India has a massive demand for fuel with the increase in the rapid economy, because if you look at India is the fifth largest in terms of GDP in the world, of course. And then keeping in mind the sustainability goals, the government is rapidly shifting towards more to increase the share of the renewable energy. If you look at, I don't know if you have read in the newspaper yesterday, I think day before yesterday, I think in the Rajya Sabha, the non-fossil fuel energy bill has been passed, which means to say that the share of renewable energy will increase in the country in coming times. Okay. And India is, in fact, the third largest producer of renewable energy in the world, with about 40% of the installed electricity capacity, which is about totally about 160 gigawatts. Okay, gigawatt is nothing but 1000 megawatt is nothing but 1 gigawatt. That's a conversion. And if you look at the breakup of the 160 gigawatt, from where is it coming from? Different forms of renewable energy. It comes largely from solar, that is which is about close to about 60 gigawatts, and about 40 gigawatts coming from biomass, and about 10 gigawatts coming from biomass, and about 5 gigawatts coming from the hydro, and so on. And you have also large hydro plants, which with this large hydro power plants, which is provides about close to about 40 to 45 gigawatts of electricity. If we look at, our country has set some ambitious goal in quest of sustainability and to also fight climate change. So if we look at the current per capita greenhouse gas emission, what we each person generates as a consequence of their living on this planet because of various activity, which comes to about something like 2.54 tons of CO2 equivalent, which is much below compared to the world average number. If you look at developed countries, it is much higher, but you take world average number, it comes to about 6.3 tons of CO2 equivalent if you take the numbers in 2020, whereas India, the per capita greenhouse gas generated is about 2.4 tons. That's about close to about maybe by about 1/3 or so. Okay, so but our consistent commitment to climate change and sustainability is unwavering, particularly by our Honorable Prime Minister in COP, that is a meeting that was held in Glasgow, that is COP26 meeting. India has has emphasized India's contribution and targets for climate action, and in the form of something called as a Panchamitra, which are basically 5, I would say, approaches. One is India will get non-fossil fuels close to about 500 gigawatts. That is by about 2030. That is increasing the current. If you look at the contribution for renewable, it's about 160 gigawatts. It will scale up to about 500 gigawatts by 2030. That is within about 8 years, will be increasing from 160 to about 500 gigawatts. That's the target. And by that time, we meet 50% of the energy requirements of the country using renewable energy. That's the target. That means the total power generation would be close to about, say, about 800 gigawatts would take, of which about 500 gigawatts would be coming from renewable energy. And it also reduces the carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. That's basically, you are trying to install more of renewable energy plants and then reduce the greenhouse gas emission. That's what it is. And the fourth one was to reduce the carbon intensity. of the economy. That is because the industrial activity, we generate a lot of CO2 and all that. So we, by these actions, by adopting renewable energy technologies, even for industrial production, some of these things, you reduce these emissions per put 45% by 2030. That's the thing. And also, as you know, the final goal would be India to become carbon neutral by 2070. That's what it is. Okay. So to achieve this 2070, they have become net carbon zero or CO2 neutral by 2070. These are some of the plans that has been envisaged by the government of India. Now, as you know, this renewable energy these days is the heart of the climate action targets. So India is among the top 5 countries in the world which is promoting this renewable energy, and is one of the first countries among the G20 countries, I would say, based on the climate change performance. Okay, that's what it is. So these sustainability goals is something I think each country is pursuing, and India, as I mentioned, has a long-term plan to achieve this, such that India becomes carbon neutral by 2070. And this being, in fact, this sustainability, the idea of sustainability, also figured prominently even by Gandhiji's teaching, Mahatma Gandhi's teaching as well. He had mentioned that what we do today is our future. That means if we use more of these renewable form of energy, you will be able to safeguard our planet and then hand over the planet in the same way for future generations. That's what it says. So he also said that we should not look upon natural resources like land, water, and then air as inheritance from our forefathers, but it should be considered as loan that we have has been given to us by the next generation, that is future generation. That means you've not taken this planet as an inheritance from our forefathers, but it's something as a loan from our next generation. That means say that we have to hand over the planet in the same way what we have received from our forefathers. It should be clean and then healthy for sustaining life on this planet. So I would say that since many of you are from the student community in high schools and also probably in the early stage in your career in the college, I would suggest that I think you are all of you can be warriors of change in our fight for a better and a sustainable tomorrow. Okay, so can imbibe some of these principles like what I mentioned about Mahatma Gandhiji, and to practice this such that we attain these help the country in achieving these goals towards sustainability. So I would believe that the schools also can play a major role by inculcating the behavioral change to follow sustainable practices for a cleaner environment for the young children. So as climate change presents a significant challenge to education, education also provides a means through which you can respond. Okay, so I would in fact highlight some of the ways in which you students can contribute to this initiative from the government, and also help in attain sustainability. Basically, in schools, you can form something like a eco or green or environmental clubs, and you can, in fact, if you look at some of the practices what we have, particularly in the state of Punjab, I think every year during the harvest of the kharif crop, you have the issue of stubble burning. Okay, so stubble, I think the government of Punjab and also the Indian government is taking large measures to prevent this, and there's several measures being initiated by the state government also. So I would say the students, since they have a good understanding of what the sustainability means, what the environment means, and so on, I think you should help in creating the awareness among the farmers and some of this. So schools, particularly which are located close to rural, the rural side of the country, of the state, I would urge you that you should form some forums wherein you can educate these farmers about the the problems associated with stubble burning, make them aware the issue of the pollution associated and the quality of life, and how these the stubble burning should be prevented, and how these the measures that is been identified by the respect to the state government can be adopted, and the stubble can be converted into probably fuel which could be used for either industrial activity and many of those things. In fact, there have been many measures which has been initiated by the state government of Punjab, where I think the students have a major role to play in enhancing the use of these renewables, and also promote a cleaner society, I would say. So that's it. I think this is what I thought I was given about 30 minutes. So I feel that I've adequately spoken about this topic, and I know that you have the I think also the board exams. I suppose you have close to, or maybe you have the term exam close to that. I wish you all the best in your future career. So I conclude my talk, and I hope this was useful to you. And in case you have any questions, you can please ask me. I will try to, because I know that time is short, I will try to best way to answer your questions.
Thank you, sir, thank you very much for your words of wisdom. And students, if you have any queries, please raise your hand. Students, if you have any questions regarding the topic, please raise your hands. Whosoever will raise their hand, we will unmute the student. Or you can leave your question in the chat box. बच्चे जे तुसी पूछना नहीं चाहते तो अपना क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स च टाइप कर दो.
Hope my lecture was not boring.
No, sir, it was very interesting. I have noted down a few points.
Sure.
Yeah. So my point is that when solar energy is, we have abundance of sun in India, you know, like 83% of days are filled with sun. Then why we are not still energy independent? Why we are not based totally on renewable energy?
Madam, see, if you look at, there are the kind of programs what currently the government, that is the Ministry for New and Renewable Energy and running, I think is promoting these kinds of energy in a big way. Okay. Now, see, earlier times the solar energy was not affordable because it was expensive. Okay. Yes. Because now, since there's been large innovations in the area of solar energy, that particularly in the photovoltaic cell, the cost of manufacturing of the fuels, these panels have substantially reduced. Okay, but still, I think if you look at our country depends on the solar panels elsewhere. So, in fact, the government has introduced a scheme where it is called as production linked incentive, where the manufacturing will happen in the country. So this will considerably reduce the cost of the capital cost of the equipment. So if you look at some of the programs by Government of India, it could be either by rooftop solar, or it could be Kusum, wherein you can use solar power for water pumping application, and also large solar power plants, grid link power plants are also coming up. So I think we are in a good stage where it will take off, and like the Government of India's plan, by 2030, we should have nearly 50% of the energy coming from renewable energy. It is not only solar, it's wind also is also picking up. Likewise, biomass also, if you look at the some of the measures what government of India has taken, like if you look at the thermal power plants, which is largely supplies the base load or the power for the country. These are all run by coal. So we are trying to substitute about 5 to 10% of the coal with biomass pellets. So that's how it is. So if you look at some of the measures like the state government has taken in Punjab, particularly to prevent stubble burning, they're saying that you can convert the stubble into briquettes and pellets. And these briquettes and pellets can go into the power plants where they're using coal and substitute about 10% up to about 10% of the coal with these biomass briquettes. And you can say reduce the emissions to that extent. So these are many measures. I think I think they're in midway somewhere, I would say.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your reply. Yeah. Sir, one student, Sukhman Singh, has asked a question that what measure can we do to increase the use of renewable energy?
See, I would say, I think if you look at the programs that currently the government of India is running, I think if you look at, I think they're promoting more and more renewables, and they're also promoting the state electricity board to buy these renewables and electricity, particularly from solar power plants and wind power plants, to increase the share of the renewables. I think it's slowly happened. At the individual level, if you look at, I think basically it should be the increased awareness of the people. And if you look at some of the programs, like you have rooftop solar panels, this could be even installed at individual homes. Okay. So there's a portal for it, and also there's also government subsidy being provided where people can go for it. And I'm sure that each and every one of us can contribute to this mission, I would say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your replies. And one student, Lavkesh Garg, has asked, how can we save more renewable energy? How can we save?
Save. I didn't understand what the question is about.
Yeah, we have to produce and use it. We don't need to save.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Now, I will request Dr. Manish Soin to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
So thank you, Rashmi, and thank you very much, Dr. Sridhar ji, for your very informative talk you have delivered today on the topic perspectives of the renewable energy and for sustainable development. And you had also talked very well about the climate change and how to use the energy and make the energy efficient. So now moving further, it's a proud privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the behalf of Pushpa Gujaral Science City on this occasion. So it was really an honor, sir, to have with us our expert speaker of the day, Dr. Sridhar ji, Director General, National Institute of Bioenergy, Kapurthala. We are highly grateful to you, sir, for acceding to our request to be with us on a very, very short notice and helped us to organize this event. So I further take this opportunity to extend our sincere thanks to Director General Dr. Nilima Jairat, Director Sir Dr. Rajesh Groverji for their inspiring mentorship, guidance and support to organize this event. So I am grateful to all the students, my dear students who are here right now, and the teachers and the participants who are here from the different places who have joined us today. So last but not the least, so I extend my hearty thankful to all the colleagues of the Science City, friends from print and digital media for the wide coverage of this event and the event organized by Pushpa Gujaral Science City Kapurthala. So thank you very much to all of you, and thank you very much, sir, for making this event a successful event, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.